Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Tragedy Girl, the 2017 horror comedy slasher movie. I can't believe this came out in 2017 and I'm just now hearing about this. And that's because it never went to theaters. It was presented at the South by Southwest Festival and it got like really good positive reviews. At first, I started watching this on Amazon Prime. But then 10 minutes in, I turned it off because all the Valley Girl talk and the comedy was just getting on my nerves. But then I'm all like, I don't know, maybe I should check it out. Like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And so I decided, okay, I'm gonna watch it on what is it called? Tubi. Because it's on Tubi, it's on Roku TV, Hulu, and Disney Plus. Apparently, if you have a subscription and everything, you can watch it on Disney Plus. And that's just weird altogether. And so I've noticed that a lot of these comedy horror movies or comedy slasher movies are on streaming. You don't see them in the theaters and stuff. That's mostly because horror comedy and slasher comedy, sometimes they don't do very well. Like, when it comes to like movie theaters and the box office, slasher movies are around mid place, and so are comedies and stuff. So the combination of those two are either going to get mid or down at the bottom, and they don't want that. So they put it on streaming, but a lot of these comedy slasher movies that I've seen are actually pretty good. Some tweaking here and there, and they can be box office movies and stuff. And so this is an original movie. It's not a remake, not based on no novel, nothing like that. And so it was, it was written by Chris Lee Hill, and it was also written and then directed by Tyler McEntee. And, I gotta give it up. See, at first, like I said before, I watched the first 10 minutes, then I stopped because the comedy and the Valley Girl talk was getting on my nerve. But, I'm like, hey, I've watched worse. You know what I'm saying? I Will Always Know What You Did Last Summer, the direct-to-DVD movie to the franchise. If I can sit through that twice, I can sit through this. And I'm glad I sit through it. It was actually pretty enjoyable. The gore was pretty good. The story was really interesting. And I can't believe the killers got away with it. See, normally in slasher movies, you don't know who the killer is. And that's a guessing game. And if it's a duo, you never, whether it's a single person doing the killing or like a duo and everything, you never get to see them playing things out. And this was so refreshing because it did the complete reverse. It revealed in the very opening of the movie who the killers are, and we know their motivation, and we get to see them plan everything out. This is something I've always wanted to see. You don't even see this in slasher television shows and stuff. And it was done very smart because the girls who do this are amateurs. And I was always thinking, why the heck do they want to go around killing people? Easy. The new slasher movie trope. They wanna be famous. So in modern day, just like in Scream 4, to be like famous and everything, you need fans. People don't get jobs no more. They just get on the internet and become famous. And that's what these girls want to do. They're high schoolers and everything. So with the age of the internet, they have a blog, kind of like Only Murders in the Building type thing. But theirs is called Tragedy Girls. And so they need something to put on their blog to get people talking and everything and to be famous. So they decide, hey, we should start killing people and everything, like slasher style and everything. And that's what they do. Their blog starts to blow up and they're becoming famous and everything. And it's everything you see in the Scream movies, just the reverse and everything. Now, I do kind of wish there wasn't no humor in it, but I get why there is because it's pretty dark, and if it would have been a straightforward, serious movie, it would have been too dark, too gruesome, and people would have been trying to copycat them in real life. So they added humor to kind of like phase that out, and it does help. You don't think about how gruesome and tormented and messed up this is because the humor is just balancing it out, just like meat that be sweet and sour. But there is time that the humor does get a bit kiddie and with the sound effects and everything, and it just kind of took me out in those first 10 minutes. That and all the Valley Girl talk. Because these two girls are kind of like BFFs, and they're kind of like the hot girls who are like outsiders. And they do that whole Valley talk thing for a lot of the movie, and it does get on your nerves, especially the first 10 minutes. Now, because they're amateurs and everything, I like how it's written that they're not overpowered. Like, you know how most of the time in slasher movies, the killer is super overpowered? And these girls aren't. Like, you know, when they do fight grown men, they have the hardest time doing it, and they have to fight like girls, jumping on somebody's back, throwing stuff at them, hitting them with a chair and everything, because they're about like 90 pounds soaking wet and everything. Not to mention they're cheerleaders on top of that. So also, when you watch this movie, it has an old school vibe. It has that like 90s teen trope like vibe to it and everything. It's like Jawbreakers, if you will. Jawbreakers, a little bit of the faculty, a little bit of like Clueless. So if you like stuff like that, then the vibe of this movie will resonate with you and stuff. However, that vibe has gone away. So that's why you don't really see it no more. And normally, if you do see it, it's like a slasher comedy, and it's normally a streaming movie and stuff. And so, because they're amateurs, you know, they mess up a lot, but they do have help in the form of like this killer, one of those really huge men that normally goes around like, you know, killing people and stuff. And the way they capture him is kind of funny. So they know he likes to prey on people, mostly like teens, making out and stuff like that. So one of the girls named Sadie, literally 30 different boys at school, she's been like, you know, getting handy with them and everything and making out with them, just waiting for this dude to strike, and he finally struck on the 30th guy. And so when he goes to kill them, he kills the boy, but then they taser him and everything, and then they lock him up, and like, I don't know where they lock him up at, but it's some abandoned building and everything. And because Sadie lives in the trailer and Michaela lives in like a house, but someplace they found where they just locked them up. Now, there's some things that do need to be a little bit more explained in the movie, and some things I kind of wish they wouldn't do, like some of the humor and a little bit of the dialogue and everything. So like I said before, if it were to come out in theaters, it would need to be tweaked. So they literally torture this dude for the longest time, making him spill how he does his stuff. And like, you know, they feed him dog food to keep him tied up. They keep a security camera on him to make sure he doesn't go nowhere and stuff. And he even tries to get out by trying to convince the one girl, Michaela, like, hey, you know, she's gonna ditch you and everything, but I'll be here for you and stuff like that. But like when it comes to them being amateurs, like I swear to God, they do some of the dumbest things trying to figure out how to like slash people and stuff. So they want this to be all like school related, so it will be like more close to them. So they go after Michaela's ex-boyfriend, which Michaela does not want to do. Now, Michaela is played by um what's her name from the X-Men movies? Alexandria Shipp, I believe it is. And so, like, she, of course, was young Storm in the X-Men movies on Fox. And Sadie, she is played by Brianna Hildebrand. And, of course, she plays Megasonic Warhead something in the Deadpool movies. Now, I've never seen Alexandria outside of like the X-Men movies, but I've seen Brianna in The Exorcist season 2. So it was interesting to see her play a more like upbeat type person, you know, because I'm not used to doing that. And it was weird seeing also Alexandra play like an upbeat type person. But back to the amateur thing. So like Michaela will call her ex on the phone and make like breathing noises on the phone, right? So he thinks, oh no, something's wrong, or like, oh no, like, you know, what's going on? But she's parked right outside his house. Her head is sticking up. He is literally a few feet away outside playing with his motorcycle. How does he not see her? So it's like the amateur stupid stuff they do and don't think about it. So they run him off the road and they start stabbing him over and over, but he won't die because they realize, hey, this is not like the movies and he's not dying after one stab. And so then a car pulls up and one of the girls goes to talk to the person in the car while like Michaela is like actually putting her hand over the mouth and nose of her ex. And as he dies, he tells her, if I had to die, I'm glad it was from you. What does that mean? Like, that's a dumb dialogue, like to write. So then she starts making out with his dead corpse. And so it lets you know she is really cuckoo in the head. And we find out later just how cuckoo and stuff. And so, of course, now this is starting to blow up, but now people are thinking it's an accident. So they're getting kind of pissed because they think nobody's going to think that an actual slasher is killing these people because everything looks like an accident. So when they kill the cheerleader girl, the head cheerleader girl, they make an even bigger mistake. One of them is wearing identifier shoes. So she knows it's Michaela because she wears like these pink shoes and everything. And that's just dumb. So they have to chase after her and kill her. But once again, it looks like an accident. So they have to chop her body up and everything. So as they're getting like more and more famous and everything because they're blogging about all this and messing around with evidence, they're pissing off the sheriff. Now the sheriff's son is played by Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid does not look like a teenager in this. He was about 20, he was in his mid-20s. And he just looked like a grown man. But he plays the love interest of Sadie, and he's even helping get information and videos and stuff like that for like the girls for their blog. Well, Craig Robinson, he produced this movie, co-produced, and he has a role in here. He plays like the fireman and stuff. And he starts getting a mob talking about, you know, look, the sheriff department ain't doing their job. We need people to go old school American on them and start hunting down these killers and stuff, forming a mob. And so the girls are kind of like, oh, well, he's our next target and everything. Because, like, you know, he's, in a way, they feel like he's kind of like taunting them. And also because since he's making the spotlight on him, he will be the perfect new victim. So, also they find him attractive, but then they see their teacher likes him as well. So they go to kill him, but they have to be smart about it. So they're gonna drug his water because they know he's too big to take on and everything. So Michaela goes there and flirts with him and everything, but it's not working. But then the problem is Sadie, Jack Quaid's character, is coming to her house. So she has to like wrap this up. So she's trying her best to like speed things up and just trying to knock him out, but it's not working. The water's working a little bit, but he's still way too strong. So both girls have a really hard time trying to fight him off, throwing weights at him and stuff. He gets the upper hand and starts to strangle that of Sadie because he's literally tossing these girls around. He literally threw Michaela into like the glass and everything. But as he's starting to strangle Sadie, the water and the spiking it took effect. And so he starts to slow down to the point where Sadie's able to stab him in the chest. He falls back on the weight and they remove like, the what's it called? So the weight doesn't fall down on you. Like this little not a gear, like a pin. And so it literally smashes his skull open and you see the nasty part. When I say they showed the gore, it is like nasty and stuff. And so they realize, hey, there's no way this is gonna look like a mistake and everything. But this is where they make their mistake because they had pictures of him. And when they're like an assembly and everything, and people talking about get justice for like, his character, they text that picture to everybody. And Jack Quaid's character saw it. So he gets suspicious and starts looking up Michaela's like school record and stuff. But by this time, Sadie is like falling for Jack's character, right? Which pisses off Michaela. So by this time, the actual original killer dude, he busts free and they're now scared. And he kills like, I don't know who she is, a principal, a mayor, or something like that. But it's Keiko from Star Trek The Next Generation. It was so cool seeing her. The way she died was odd. He literally had her hanging on a pole. Literally. It went up her butt, through her mouth, and there she hung. I'll let that slide. Just because the movie's pretty interesting and stuff. A weird way to die, but whatever. So anyways, Sadie's at like Jack Quaid's place. I forget his character's name. And she has to now kill him because Michaela is convincing her to. But she really likes him. His dad is the sheriff. Well, the killer somehow finds out they're there and goes to like kill them and stuff. He dresses up in a black outfit, mask, and like machete. Now, before I go any further, the cops in here are really stupid. When the girls killed the one dude at like the gym, they did not wear gloves. Their fingerprints are everywhere. Not to mention a bottle of water one of the girls were drinking. No prints, no DNA, no nothing. I don't get that. So if this like that pisses me off right there. There's like you just don't do that. Anyway. So she's trying to fight off the killer as he like stabbed, what's his name? The dad like shot at him. He jumped through the window. Now she's crowned a hero. And now her life is turning around. Everybody thinks she's a hero. People are liking her more. The teachers like her more, trying to give her scholarships. And this is pissing off Michaela. And it's even to the point where Michaela off screen befriends the original killer. And so at prom, they go to kill Sadie and go to kill like, Jack's character. And there we get the big reveal. See, Jack doesn't have a mom. She died in a car accident. But how exactly? Well, it turns out this isn't the girl's first kill. When they were just little girls, about 7 or 9 years old, his mom gave them a ride back home. And Sadie had the idea of, hey, we should kill her and everything. Because Sadie is very cold-hearted, and so is Michaela. So they put like a rope around her neck and strangled her as she drove off the road. Then they went off about their life, but then Michaela was sad the next day, but scared that she might blurt out what happened. But Sadie didn't care because she got a thrill out of it and stuff. So these girls have literally been psychotic ever since they was little. And sometimes that's normally how real psychopaths are and stuff. And so like After some talking and some convincing, Sadie and like Michaela like forgive each other, but Jack is character is overhearing all this, but he still forgives Sadie for whatever dumb reason, and it's just kind of odd. So they've already killed the killer and everything, and Sadie tells like Jack Quaid's character like, hey, look, man, I'm glad you love me and everything, but something like this is who I am, or I'm crazy, or something like that. I forget what she said, but she puts the rope around his neck and literally hangs the dude. Then they literally chain all the doors in the gym for prom, and they set the school on fire, killing everybody at prom. So afterwards, the girls' blogs are like even bigger, and they've written books and all this other stuff, and now they're gone off to college. Now, the part that pisses me off is like, how did anybody suspect those two? They are part of the senior class. Every senior is now dead except for them, and they all went to prom together. You would think a big massacre like this, and there's only two survivors with no burn marks or like smoke in their lungs and nothing like that. How the heck did they survive? Nobody questioned it, not even the police, and they completely got away with it. So while I do, yes, enjoy this movie, there are some really dumb parts in this movie where the cops are literally so stupid they don't do no investigation. Neither does the news reporter people. The news reporter people love McKenna and love Sadie because of their blog. This is a huge problem I have with this movie. It's just like the dumbness of it kind of takes away from all the goodness of the movie. Now, wasn't that spooky? Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.